finally internship, post internship, even 10, 15 years after your BTS degree, because we've been seeing students, homemakers, busy practitioners who started their preparation even after 15, 20 years after the BTS. So when to start your preparation? Now is always the right time to start your preparation. It can be any year. So suppose if you are in first year, you can start with your first year subject. When I say you can start with your first year subject, it's not just about practicing MCQs or mugging up some guides. It's about focusing on the subjects which are there in that respective year. So first year, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, dental materials, DAOH, basics. So you can start with subjects in that particular year. So the same applies to second year, third year, final year, and so on and so forth. So when to start preparation? Now is always the right time to start preparation. And the reason why I put up this particular point in the beginning is usually there is a misconception that preparation has to be started only during some food. Preparation, if started during internship, that's fine. But we see so many interns, feeling so much stressful because they have to cover up as many subjects as possible within that time. So if you are in first year, second year, third year, or final year, you can start with those respective subjects, save yourself plenty of time and from all the unnecessary stress. And if you are in internship, of course you can start your preparation. And as I said, now is always the right time, no matter which year you are in. Second, coming to resources. Which resources should we follow? Should we follow a particular guide? Should we follow a previous and skills? Should we follow a particular course? First and foremost, any resource which you follow has to be standardized. It has to be. Let me give you an example. We have a PubMed index article in Google. We also have access to Wikipedia. If you rely on information given in Wikipedia, you're obviously going to land in truth, because the information given there is not standardized. So only follow the information which is given in your standard textbook, not guide, only standard textbook as well as PubMed index articles. And of course we have study courses which are based on this standard references, but never ever blindly trust third-party websites including these guides and all, because only once you get standard information, only once you're able to follow the information given in the standard book like David's and Oxford, then you'll be able to answer any kind of MCQ, including case-based questions. If you are looking to learn subjects, right, the standard references are mandatory, without any doubt. And third, I mentioned about schedule. Schedule is something which we often find it very difficult to follow. See, it's easy to create a schedule, but very difficult to follow the same. But having said that, schedule is something which helps us, in guiding us towards in that entire preparation phase. If you don't have a schedule, we might end up only preparing a few select subjects. And for your information, we have almost equal weightage in all subjects in NEET and TS or INSA. So each and every subject is important. So with schedule, you will be comprehensively able to cover all these subjects at least once. So having a schedule, creating a schedule during our preparation phase is very, very important, because it helps us stay motivated throughout the preparation journey. And having said that, it's not always possible to complete 100% of a particular subject. Let's suppose you take you allotted 1 week or 2 weeks as per your schedule, or even in our academy schedule. It's not that we complete or we can complete 100% of all the syllabus of that particular subject based on schedule. It's all about completing as much subject as possible, not 100%, because 100% completion is a myth. It never happens. You think if I allot you 1 year for completing only dental materials, you'll be able to complete the entire subject? I don't think so. What if I allot you 10 years only for dental materials? Do you think you can complete 100%? So 100% completion is always, it's all about completing, mastering as many important relevant topics as possible in entrance perspective. The schedule is very important. And coming to timetable, see, every day we need to have a specific timetable. Let's suppose we wake up at a particular time, we practice some 106 years, we go for walking, we study for 3 to 4 hours. Having a timetable, it need not be fixed. You can customize it, you can change it now and then, but having a timetable helps you lead a disciplined life, helps you maintain consistency throughout your preparation phase. You can create a timetable. I usually suggest all students to create their own timetable. Like, you can spend morning 1 to 2 hours. If you are an intern, you can spend morning 1 to 2 hours towards preparation. If you wake up, assuming that you wake up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And then during your college time, you can spend at least 1 hour. Evening session, we can spend at least 2 to 3 hours. So you can divide your daily progress into various sessions. Session 1, session 2, session 3, and so on and so forth. And you can approach preparation to different means. You can practice and practice. You can watch some videos which are available in e-classes or YouTube. You can go through different materials. You can prepare notes. So using different strategies and approaching preparation using these different strategies will bring diversity into your preparation and also will simultaneously help you stay motivated. The timetable definitely helps you stay disciplined and consistent. You can give it a try. Of course, we all have timetables in our college, right? So why do you think we have this timetable? And coming to number of hours, so this is something which I commonly face. So one of the questions they commonly face, like, how many hours should we allot towards preparation? 1 hour per day? 10 hours per day? I even hear students telling that we should study 15 hours or 16 hours or 18 hours. Then when are you going to sleep? When are you going to see and answer your leisure call? The 16 hours, 18 hours, 14 hours, these are all fancy numbers. Don't go by that. The right answer to this question of how many hours should we allot towards preparation is spending maximum time in a given day based on your time availability. See, if you are an intern, you might be able to allot 5 to 6 hours maximum exclusively for preparation. If you are fourth intern, you might be able to allot maximum of 8 to 10 hours per day towards preparation. If you are in second year, third year, or final year, maybe you could allot only 1 to 2 hours for preparation per day. Or if you are a homemaker, you have kids to take care of, maybe you are able to allot only 1 hour per day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many hours you allot, because as long as you focus on quality, as long as you have the sense of satisfaction that you're giving your best and you're trying your level best to comprehensively prepare, it's not going to be an issue, the number of hours. So how many hours you can allot towards preparation? It's the maximum amount of time which you can allot per day, depending upon your time level, right? And with consistent effort, you'll obviously try to allot more and more time as the days goes, isn't it? And coming to notes, so notes is something which we all neglect. In fact, I have my own notes. Even after several years of completing Cycle 95, still maintain notes before any session, before any YouTube video or live session, Zoom debate interaction, or any user rate software we started with that. Note preparation is very, very important. See, if I give my notes to you, or if you take someone else's notes to prepare, it's of no value. You can just throw it out in the dust. I'm telling this very seriously, because notes is something which we prepare based on our level of understanding, based on how we perceive things, isn't it? So it is highly customized material. So my note is in no way going to serve purpose to you, and vice versa. The notes is something which we need to prepare, we need to customize based on our needs. And most importantly, the process of notes preparation, you're going to learn subjects, and this notes is something which is going to save your time and enhance your confidence, especially during the crucial phase of your preparation, that is in the final 1 month, 10 days or 15 days before the exam. Because this note, when you revise it, you'll have enhanced confidence and you're going to save plenty of time. Instead of revising the entire content from textbooks or videos or from any other material, your notes is going to save your time, mark my word. And you might say, one of the most common complaints which I hear is, sir, we don't have time to make notes. So you cannot say that. Time is something which all of us have in equal proportion. I have 24 hours, you have 24 hours. We all have 24 hours. It's only about priority, isn't it? It's only about priority. So once you understand the importance of notes, you will make time for notes preparation simultaneously. And when I say notes preparation, it's not just about anything, everything that's already given in textbook or some material. It's about making key points, drawing a diagram if it comes canonical, or a flow chart, a table. You can check out my videos on YouTube where I have allocated on notes preparation at length in your free time. Okay? So notes preparation is very important. It's going to save your time and enhance your confidence. And then coming to revision. So this is another question which students usually ask. How many times should we revise? 5 times, 6 times, 10 times, crazy number, 15 times, 20 times. I hear some of the students saying, I revised a particular guide 5 times before the exam. What's the point? It's not about the number of revisions again. Even if you're studying for the first time, if you are doing it mindfully, let's suppose you're attending this session, simultaneously, if you're playing or if you're checking your messages, do you think you can focus and, is it mindful way of attending this session? And you're not going to learn anything in the process. If you're doing something, if you focus on the given task, 100%, you need not bother about the number of revisions, like 5 revisions, 6 revisions, no. So the first reading has to be in such a way that you give your 100% attention. Having said that, you can revise at least once you complete first reading. Maybe you can do a second revision, or if you think you still have time, especially interest, you can even go for third revision. But the first reading itself has to be done mindfully with 100% focus and attention. Having said that, talking about focus, it's very hard to focus on something these days thanks to this, what shall we call them, smart device or dumb devices, or smart devices used by dumb people. So that's up to you to decide. We have this smartphone. During our preparation days, luckily we had no smartphones, or the use was minimal, so we were not that much distracted. But nowadays, smartphones have penetrated to such an extent, as you can see the next point. Smartphones, of course, we have so many benefits, wonderful benefits with these smart devices, and that's one of the ways in which you are also attending this session. At the same time, we also have disadvantages. But history proves that humanity, when something is given, it's almost used as a curse rather than a blessing. The same is happening with smartphones as well. Increased screen time. I hear students spending more than 8 to 9 hours per day on their screen time. 8 to 9 hours per day, especially during this lockdown phase. If you have a doubt about my statement, just check out your respective screen time. You'll understand the fact. So spending 8 to 9 hours per day, and mostly it's nonsense. I'm sorry to say this, but mostly it's nonsense. We started Instagram very recently, and to my surprise, I find 99.99% of the content nonsense. I don't know what's happening, but see, if we are getting lost in that, then who else is going to help us? See, no one is going to help us. No one, not even our parents are going to help us. Because there are some limitations everywhere. Ultimately, it's we who have to take charge of ourselves and lead, isn't it? So smartphones are both blessings and a curse, and it depends on how you use them. So I'll give you some tips in order to how you can overcome the drawbacks of smartphones. You can minimize the screen time. We have the screen time locks which are available in all your smartphones. And also, do not disturb mode is something which you can use so that you will not have that constant screening. And also, one of my personal favorites is deactivating notifications. If you have to, right now my mobile is not disturb mode, and I never get any notification. Yeah. So, it's all about how you use this smartphone. It's not just getting carried away by the features which are available in it, but trying to make maximum use of it. So you can minimize smartphone usage, but you cannot avoid it, right? You can minimize smartphone usage and use it for your benefit rather than falling prey to it. And then coming to friends are an integral part during our preparation. So when we prepare, we have our friends simultaneously preparing with us, not just in the same room, but at different places, different locations, or in college. So friends play a very important role because it brings a kind of competitive, right? When you have good friends, when you have good friendship, Three Idiots is the best example we have. So you need a friend like Chetan or you need a friend like Raj. So the selection is not up to them. But if you know what kind of a friend is based on your interaction, and having a friend who actually helps us enhance our preparation and vice versa. If you have those kind of friends, consider it as a blessing. But if you have a friend who is like Chetan, you know Chetan, right? 3 Idiots, I'm sure most of you know. If you have a friend like Chetan who disturbs you, who tries and makes sure that you're getting distracted, then try maintaining distance and make sure that, also simultaneously, a good friendship is a kind of thing where you share information for the benefit of your friend, and it also helps you in the process. When you discuss subject with your friends, or you'll be able to discuss or explain things to your friends only when you know it better. So discuss a subject with your friends, discuss multiple choice questions with your friends, and in fact, that's one of the best ways to learn. Because even if you forget what you studied in a particular book, you'll always remember what you explained to your friends. That's what happens usually before our university theory exams, right? We tend to explain all the things which we learn to our friend and vice versa. So friends are an integral part of preparation and play a very crucial role. Thanks to my friends, I had several friends during my preparation who altogether enhanced everyone's preparation standard. And finally, in these preparation steps, I would like to conclude with guidance. Last but not least, guidance is something which is very valuable. During our preparation, we were blessed to have some of the wonderful professors who actually guided us with all the love and affection, right? So if you have someone in your career, someone in your life who unconditionally, accepts you for who you are and guides you 100%, consider yourself as a blessed child. So because guidance gives you enormous support, especially during challenging times. So having a guide, a best guide, a guide who inspires you is a kind of blessing, right? So these are some of the preparation tips which I wanted to share. And along with this, I haven't incorporated this preparation tip, but I would like to highlight this as in the recent exam pattern. It can be honest, it can be neat. We have this negative marks. That is a common question which I get is how to avoid negative marks. First and foremost, you cannot avoid negative marking, but you can only minimize negative marks. And this is possible only with practice, and practice. In the form of practicing questions, in the form of practicing as many questions as possible. You will be learning subject, and with this practice, right, you will gain more subject, and in the process you can minimize this negative marking, but you cannot avoid negative marking. Okay? So you have any further questions, feel free to pose at the end of this session. Okay? So with this, let's conclude this preparation phase part. And next we'll move on to an important question. What does it take? What it takes to actually crack entrance? As you can see, discipline. Discipline is something which actually everyone needs. It's a prerequisite factor, quality within us to actually crack the entrance. Discipline to work hard, discipline to study consistently, discipline to do activities in a specified way consistently throughout. Let me give you a small example. We all know that brushing our teeth is very important. I'm sure you all brush your teeth. So the first thing, or one of the first things we do after waking up early in the morning is we brush our teeth. Or whenever we wake up, we brush our teeth. So that's something which we got used to from our mothers. Thanks to our mothers, we got used to that habit, and now it's a habit, right? We brush teeth. We don't feel the pressure. We're not forced to brush our teeth any longer. We just do it spontaneously. So is preparation. So if you make that a habit, you take any quality when it comes to preparation, you make that, you incorporate that as a habit, you'll start enjoying the process. One of the other examples I can give you apart from brushing is waking up early in the morning. I know it's a huge challenge for students to wake up early in the morning, and those who wake up early in the morning know its benefits. In fact, science has proved time and again that early morning concentration powers are high. You are least distracted, you can focus more, there is more mindfulness, and You can enjoy the sunrise. In fact, it's about respecting your biological clock. Sunrises, sunsets. We are not separate entities on this planet Earth. We are part and parcel of this planet Earth, and I'm sure you agree with me. So being a part and parcel of this planet Earth, we have these circadian rhythms and biological clocks. If we respect them, then we feel energetic, enthusiastic, and we feel like moving forward. Sleeping late at night with all these temptations of smartphone, OTT, Netflix, Amazon, waking up early, it's not worth it. So you can incorporate these habits, like waking up early in the morning, with discipline. You can in fact make it a habit by practicing. In fact, science has proved that. Research has shown that if you do any new activity, for example, you want to incorporate a new habit into you. So if you do it consecutively for 21 days, that is for 3 weeks, you'll start forming new habits. And once a particular task becomes a habit, it remains with you for your lifetime, just like brushing your teeth. Brushing our teeth is a habit. Likewise, you can make as many new habits as possible, provided you do them for at least 3 weeks. According to science, according to research, 21 days of 3 weeks. So in fact, we've done this experiment. In our YouTube channel, we had this 21-day challenge, and it was tremendous success. Initially, for the first 3 to 4 days, it was a struggle for all of us, but after that, it was like a cakewalk. And the moment you wake up early in the morning, 5 a.m. club is something, it's like a magic, which you all need to experience. So the point is very simple. Discipline is essential, and discipline is very much possible once you start making the essential things in regard to your preparation as habits. So waking up early in the morning, you can turn it into a habit. Studying every day, you can turn it into a habit. Practicing MCQs, you can turn it into a habit. So any new task can be turned into a habit, as I said, if you do it for 21 days. And that further and ultimately leads to discipline. And discipline is something it takes to actually crack entrance, and not just entrance, but for that matter, to achieve anything and everything in life, take never. And finally, I would like to conclude this presentation with the preparation mantra. So what's the magic? What do we need in order to actually succeed in any entrance in specific when it comes to entrance preparation? In life, of course, we all agree with discipline. When it comes to preparation, discipline coupled with the following factors, that is hard work, consistency, and most importantly, self-belief. So the moment we start our preparation, we're all very excited. We start our preparation, we work hard. All of us can work hard, we all have the potential, but it's not just hard work. Hard work coupled with consistent performance throughout is very, very important. And hard work and consistency alone are not enough, because no matter how much you work hard, no matter how much consistent you are, on the day of exam, take for example, the best example I can give you is Viva. You work hard, you work consistently, but you fail to answer. It's because of all the tension and negativity, and you don't believe yourself. You're afraid of the examiner out there. Self-belief is something which is very important. So hard work, consistency, self-belief. Keep these 3 factors in mind. Success is all yours, without any doubt. Without any doubt. And finally, I listen to students saying that it's very difficult to prepare, it's very hard to prepare, it's like a punishment, it's because I'm preparing because of my parents, I'm preparing because of society, I'm preparing because my seniors are prepared. And because of all these reasons, most of the students or aspirants consider preparation as a punishment. But remember, keep all those things aside, preparation is something. Preparation is something which you are doing for your own progress. What your parents think. It's hard to do so because they're part and parcel of the society, but it's very much possible. You're not doing this for sake of others. Remember, preparation is not something which you are doing for sake of others. It's something which you are doing for yourself. because in this preparation phase, you're going to learn so many things which you haven't even heard of during your undergraduate. I'm not joking. That's true. Because we go in depth, we deal with so many topics, vast number of topics, because in our first year, second year, third year, and final year, our focus is on just clearing the university exam, passing the internals. That's it. So we study maybe 10 or 15 years before the exam. But preparation phase is totally different, wherein we go at length and depth using standard references, which means I'm not trying to threaten you, rather I'm trying to tell you that this is an opportunity for each and every one of you to learn and master as many concepts as possible, so that they're not only going to help you in your entrance exam, but they are also going to help you in your post-graduation and for the rest of your professional career statement work. Right? So once you consider this preparation as an opportunity, you'll no longer see it as a punishment. You'll only see it as a means to progress, not just professionally, but also personally, because to prepare, to succeed, you need discipline. It's not just about professional growth, it's even about personal growth, the preparation phase, right? So with these remarks, let me conclude, and you guys can follow us on YouTube, Telegram, Facebook, Insta, this is following links. And finally, I would like to congratulate this cognition team, Dr. Shantan and Dr. Ranas, for their enthusiasm and for coming up with this initiative of conducting webinar on this NEET MTS preparation tips and strategies. And this kind of enthusiasm is actually what we all need. Only with enthusiasm we can do great things. We can dream big, and finally, of course, we can achieve them as congratulations to you guys, and also to all those who have been patiently listening to this webinar. I know when we say presentation, I know we usually speak during webinar, we usually speak during presentation. I hope it didn't happen now.
No, sir, it's a fantastic one. Thank you for giving us your valuable time. We are grateful to you, sir. Okay, so
yeah. Yeah, please. You guys can ask questions either directly or in the chat box. As many questions as possible. We'll spend maximum time on this Q&A session. Yeah.
Okay. So guys, we are starting with our interactive session. So kindly you can just write in the comment section one by one your question. So start, please. So we are ready. You can just write in the comment section. So the first question is coming. Yes.
Yeah. Please answer. You can go ahead.
Yes, the first question which is coming from Sambit Das. Where do we get the previous year NEET MDS papers?
Sambit, previous year NEET MDS papers, we provide them in the form of our test series. Also, you can access 2018, 19 and 20 papers in our YouTube channel. We have discussed them online. You can check them out in our YouTube channel. Also, you can check out our test series. Yes.
Okay, so the next question, please.
Yes, Sambit, you're welcome. Yes, of course, you know the answer. Shanta knows the answer. So Fatima is asking which coaching institute is best for MTS preparation. Fatima, you can check out details on PGPD Academy. You can check out the website. I'm sure you will decide after looking at the testimonials and the feedback.
Yes, you can just visit Sir's YouTube channel. It's a fantastic one. I have been following the YouTube channel since my second year curriculum, and I am really blessed to have Sir as a speaker on that, because he explained each and every topic so minutely that you will love it. I'm just not promoting, but I'm really telling that you can trust.
Yes, thank you, Shanta. Thank you for your kindness.
Okay, so Fatima, I think you were... Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next question, please.
You guys can post the question simultaneously in chat box, and if we have this one-to-one interaction, we have this online platform, right? You guys can speak and ask. That would be even better.
See guys, the thing is
I
like
mean, that's how it is.
you can have the senior college, but at least the one who have cracked the entrance and he is guiding all, this opportunity is not available to everyone, right? So we have arranged, so I think you should grab this opportunity, so to clear all your doubts.
Yes.
Okay, so what are the standard MCQ books which we should follow? Sneha.
Yeah, Sneha, standard MCQ books which we should follow. First of all, Sneha, MCQ books are not standard because these are guides and basic information which is available here and there. I would suggest you to first rely on standard textbooks and standard reference articles, and if you're looking MCQ, MCQs in specific, I would definitely recommend that test. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Sachin is asking, what are the mistakes you think that we generally make while preparing ourselves?
What are the mistakes you think we generally make while preparing ourselves? So, mistakes in the sense, can you be more specific, Sachin? See, there can be, we can go on listing these mistakes. Like, what can I say? Mistakes you think we generally make while preparing ourselves. Maybe we don't follow the schedule. Not following the schedule is one big mistake which mostly students do. If they create their own schedule, not sticking to a proper timetable, all the factors which we discussed, not allotting proper amount of time, not doing things mindfully. So the things which we all discussed, these were created based on the mistakes which we usually commit during preparation phase. I mean, if you can be more specific, Sachin, I'll be glad to answer.
Yes, Sachin, you can be more specific to your question, then sir will be explaining it well. Okay, so with regards to standard materials and guidance to be specific.
Yeah. Priyanshi, yes.
Yes, sir.
I think we
Sachin,
have Priyanshi's question.
yes, sir. Sachin is asking, sir. Actually, he replied that with regards to standard materials and guidance to be specific.
Standard materials and guidance, see, when it comes to standard materials, as you said, standard textbooks is there. So all textbooks which we refer during our undergrad duration, we should have them, right? So there is no doubt. So along with this, coming to guidance, of course, we do provide guidance from our side in the form of CTBD Academy, in the form of situations. We can check them out as well. So with regards to standard materials, first thing I would suggest, even though we're providing e-classes and test series and study materials, I would first recommend standard textbook references, standard PubMed index articles, and along with that, you can utilize any MCQ book based on your choice, including our course. Yes.
Okay, so Priyanshi, should we read all subject reference book minutely?
Of course, yes, Priyanshi, you should, but not in your internship or post-internship. The reason is, see, if you are in first year, Priyanshi, I don't know which year you are in. Which year are you in, Priyanshi?
She's in
If you are in
second
first
year.
year.
She's in second year, right? Yes, sir. She's in second year, right?
Okay. Okay, second year. So if you are in second year, of course, yes, you have to see. Usually, even to our students, you say we have to read each and every word from third grade as much as possible. Yes, you have to read every subject from the textbooks minutely because that's going to enormously help you during your later stages of your professional career. Not just entrance, as for that matter, even in your clinical practice, even in any competitive exam. By the way, we're not just talking about NEET, MBS and INSS. You take any dental entrance related entrance worldwide, ABC entrance, LDD, LDEB, English licensing exam, you take any dental entrance based exam, these standard references are going to enormously help you because the subject is the same. Wheeler's dental anatomy is the same subject which is followed throughout. Sturtevant conservatory, the same subject which is being followed throughout. That's the reason I'm teaching on the standard textbook. Yes, Priyanshi, the answer to your question is yes, you have to go through it minutely. First year, second year, third and final year, those respective subjects. But when it comes to internship, you will not have that much time to actually refer textbooks and it's going to be demotivated. The preparation strategy varies in that context.
Okay. So Priyanshi, I hope you got your answer. Fine. So coming to Rick, sir, which standard textbook should be followed of foreign authors or Indian author?
See, in Telugu we say, we have a quote in Telugu. I speak Telugu. Duruku kondaru nunnuku. Which means, I'll translate that for you. Which means, all those which are foreign, we love them. All those which are Indian, I don't know why we hate them. So we maybe inherently we have that fine tuning inside our brain, but it doesn't matter. It can be foreign authors, it can be Indian authors. But the problem with some specific Indian authors is they are providing you information in the form of guides, ready-made information, which is in no way going to help you understand something. So there are some wonderful books by Indian authors which you can follow. I mean, by the way, if you want a list of standard books to be followed, you can just drop us a mail, we'll send you the standard reference list. Or you can just mail Shanta and team, we'll provide you the list Shanta, you can
Yes,
just
sir.
follow that list.
Yes, sir, sure.
Both foreign and Indian authors can be followed, but there are some books, especially when it comes to Indian authors, which are more or less like guides. I don't want you to follow it.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir. Rick, I hope you got your answer. Okay, the next question comes from Swarna. Sir, like during your presentation, you talked about standard resources and mentioned some like Phillips and Harrison's. Could you please elaborate about some textbook, etc., you consider to be must-read ones?
Yes, just now as I was mentioning, we'll provide you the list of standard references to be followed right from first year to final year. Yeah, you can just check out that.
Yes.
Shanta, you can just arrange it after this session.
Yes, sir. Positively, sir. I will definitely just
Yeah.
provide them. Okay, so the next question is coming from Povitro. Sir, should we focus more on clinical subject than the preclinical subjects, or it should be equal?
Pavitra, see, it has to be equal because according to previous AAPG or APPGS K1 entrances, it was different. The distribution was skewed in the sense there was more weightage on clinical subjects than basic. In fact, there used to be 1 or 2 questions or 1 or 0 questions coming out in the previous, some 5 years or 10 years back. But with latest status, all subjects are equally important. If you look into the weightage, almost 16 questions per subject, 15 questions per subject, which means each and every subject should be given equal importance.
I hope, Povitro, you got your answer. Shudeshna, okay. When we are eligible to sit for MDS exam? After 4th year MDS exam or after the internship completion?
Of course, it shows your enthusiasm, Sudarshana. I'm glad you asked this question. See, to attend the exam, Shanta must be knowing, you should be completing your 12 months compulsory rotatory internship. So usually exam, if you're talking about NEET MDS exams, usually conducted during December of that particular year. So you should be able to complete your internship on March 31st of the next year. So for this upcoming December exam, you should be able to complete your internship by March next year, so that you'll be eligible for the PG admission. So you should complete your internship as.
Okay, I hope Shudeshna, you got your answer. Nilanjana, oh, so she asked a good question, sir. What are the benefits of doing MDS? Because most often I hear that it's oversaturated and doing MDS won't help, which demotivates me to study.
Nilanjan, I'm very happy and glad that you asked this question because it is one of my favorite questions. So why MDS? Why should we do MDS? So aren't there dentists who are doing well even without MDS? First and foremost, MDS is something which we do out of passion. See, if you want to master a particular clinical specialty, of course, you would like to pursue MDS so that you can master those particular treatment protocols. And also, when compared to BDS, MDS people, they'll have better chances to go academically. So, you talk about oversaturation. So that's something which I have been hearing right from the day 1 of my BDS day. I'm sure most of you might have heard the same. In fact, I would like to share this experience of mine. On the first day of my college, when I went to college, I had to travel 30 kilometers. We had a college bus. So when I entered college bus, on the first day of my college, one of my seniors asked me this question, why did you join BDS? Look at what's happening out there, the same question, it's all saturated. And he said that he's in final year at that time. And he said he's planning to start a clinic. And he also told me that, see, Naveen, when I start clinical practice, I don't think we'll have any patients. So all we need to do is, we need to just chase away all the flies and mosquitoes in our clinic. By the time, Naveen, you come to final year and start your own clinic after your BDS, you will not even have that opportunity to drive away all those flies and mosquitoes because we have already done that. So that's the kind of sarcastic thing I heard on the very first day of my BDS journey. So these things, see, the reason why people talk about all of this is because they do not have that potential to succeed. A person who actually succeeds talks in terms of possibility. If a person is saying nothing can be done, it's all saturated, which means they're just a failure. I know these are harsh words, but you'll get to know the fact with time and experience. There's nothing like oversaturation. See, I'll tell you one example. We have a place called Guntur and Jordan nearby my hometown. In a small place called Guntur, we have some hundreds of clinics. So if everyone goes and sets up clinics in the same place, then how do you expect business to happen? How do you expect to grow your income? So there are certain things which we need to do in order to grow successfully, but I don't agree with the word of saturation. As long as you focus on honing your skills, Nilanjan, as long as you focus on honing your skills, as long as you have your own talent, you'll have your own success. I'm not saying you'll be more successful than A or B. You will have your own success, mark me way. Do not get carried away by all this nonsensical talk. Rather, focus on honing your skills. In your undergraduation, in your clinical courses, in your post-graduation, and once you have the right skills, in fact, there is deficiency of skillful labor out there. We are a country of 100 crore population, and what oversaturation are we talking about? It's a joke. It's a big joke. So as long as you have that, in fact, I can give you hundreds of examples, including myself, who are successful in what they are doing. See, I'm glad you mentioned this because it's not just about money. It's not just about business. There are three factors which play a very important role in your success. I'm not talking about the success mantra. This is also with a different concept which is called as hedgehog concept. You can check out my YouTube channel. It's a business strategy. There are three factors which play a role in your success in your professional career. One is your talent or skill which you possess, the skill set. The second is your ability to do it. Just because I have the talent or I would love to do that particular thing doesn't mean that I'm going to be successful. So you should be able to have the talent. You should be able to exhibit that and implement that particular talent, and you should be able to earn money using the very same talent of you. If you can take care of these three things, then of course you'll be successful according to hedgehog concept. And if you observe any successful individual, including in dentistry, you'll find these three common factors. That is, a person who is successful is passionate about what he or she is doing, and they have the skill or ability to do it. And finally, the third factor is they are able to generate income using their own skill set. So I don't agree with the term oversaturation or there is no future. Or we can just enlighten which profession in India has better chances. Everyone is complaining about the same thing. Every profession, they're complaining about the same thing. So complaining doesn't help us. Pointing out fingers is not going to help us. Rather, let's focus on honing our skills and being passionate about what you're doing. Success will be yours. Mark my words.
Thank you, sir. I hope, Nilanjan, you got your answer. And I hope that in your course of journey, you will love this subject. Please love your subject, then only you can get success. Okay, so the question is from Somadeep. What will be the MCQ score to get a government MDS seat in West Bengal?
West Bengal, I'm not sure about the West Bengal of state by distribution, but if it is all India wide, score varies. Scores vary depending upon the proper score. or depending upon the complexity of paper, depending upon the competition. But if you are in top 200 or 300 all India rank AIR in general category, you definitely have best chances of cracking into GDC. If you're talking about in specific West Bengal, you can check out the respective university website, or you can just drop a mail and see if we can help you out. Because the information is all available in last year's seat matrix form in the respective university website.
Yes, it's actually, I can like help you out. The last year, according to the last year's score, it's around the government MBS seat in RMR Dental College and Hospital ends at the rank nearly a score of nearly 628 around. The government MBS seats ends there. In most probably in periodontics, the government MBS seats ends there. So you need a good high score to pursue a seat there. Really, a government MBS seat, because there are minimum number of seats and there are lots of things which required. So the more you score higher, the more we get the chance.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm glad Shantan mentioned it, and thank you, Shantan, for helping me out. And that criteria doesn't remain the same with each exam, with pattern, with evolving pattern, the scores do vary. So do not worry about, I'm glad you asked this question from me, but do not worry about which rank has to score, which how many marks has to score. It's about why aim for it when you can aim for the sum. Why not score 100%? Why not score all India rank 1? Just aim for it. Do not look for a safe margin. Just go for all India rank 1. In fact, in our academy, I'm sure I can provide you this as a chance, and one of you please note down. The first one is standard book list.
Yes.
One I'm going to provide. And the second is rank card. I'm going to provide you all India rank 1 card. All you need to do is download it and write down your name on it. I'm serious. I'm dead serious about it. I want you to aim high. Don't worry about safe margins or safe scores at all. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. Another student is asking, sir. She's from, I think. Okay. Sure. The question is, sir, how do we manage time while preparing for MDS lectures, as well as our UG BDS syllabus, because college hours can be very hectic?
College hours can be very hectic. Okay, I do understand Maharavish. But having said that, yeah, Maharavish.
Yes. Sir.
Having said that, see, MDS preparation and what's happening in your college is not completely different. They are both the same. The subject that's being dealt with the same. But if you're talking about clinical practice, if you're talking about patients, even that helps you in your entrance preparation. You can ask me how. See, we have so many clinical based patients or case based patients nowadays in your final exam, in your NEET, MDS, or INSS pattern. So all that you're practicing in your college, all the assignments or the work or the theory classes which you are attending in your college, are in one way or other going to help you in your preparation. They are not separate entities. Having said that, it's always good to have an exclusive timetable or schedule for your preparation in the form of practicing MCQs, attending some exclusive lectures like ours, etc. And you can do it based on your own customized timetable or schedule. Let's assume that you're going to college, you're in third year, okay, I'm sure you have plenty of time. Since you deal with only 3 major subjects. So when you wake up, let's suppose you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you have to start preparing to college from 7:30 or 8. You have at least 1 to 1.5 hours in the morning time. And then leave about the college hectic hours according to you. Let's come back to evening 6 to 9 or 10. You can at least utilize 2 to 3 hours. So 2 to 3 hours per day or 3 to 4 hours per day is going to make magic. Is going to make huge difference. It's consistent effort.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, I have a question in my WhatsApp. A student has just pinged me. So she is asking that, sir, can you just tell sir to define what this INICET exam is?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Sir, she is asking. Yes, I think yes, sir. She is asking about the new exam pattern. Yes, she's asking that can you tell me apart from NEET MDS, what else exam you are talking about? The new
INICET exam is now renamed as INICET. INICET, Institute of National Reporting.
Yes, sir.
We have FDSP in AIMS, PGI and other institutes, right? Institutes of National Importance. All of them have been clubbed into this INICET. INI exam entrance exam also.
Okay. Okay, yes, sir. Now the next question is, preparing for BDS final BDS exam different from preparing for NEET MDS? Like are the priorities principles similar?
Of course, it is completely different because, as I said in the process of this discussion, for university exam, you guys know much better, right? We start preparing just 10 days or 15 minutes before the exam. We just go through the main essay question, or just before the exam, 1 to 2 hours before the exam, we ask our friend to explain something which they have done. So yes, exactly. Your preparation strategy is completely different. That should not be done in case of entrance preparation. Entrance preparation is all about in-depth analysis, consistent efforts, and it's all about hard work, consistency, and self-belief, as I mentioned previously.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, and also priorities and principles. Of course, the basic subject remains the same, but the priorities are completely different because in university exam, it's all about clearing the exam. But in entrance, we're talking about reaching the summit. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Disha is asking, how will we manage time during exam that we can answer maximum number of questions?
Yeah, Disha, I'm glad you asked this question. It's all about practice. If you take NEET exam, we have 240 MCQs, 180 minutes, which means all in average you're getting less than a minute for every question. To be more accurate, 45 seconds for every question. So that's the reason why we're talking about preparation phase, preparation practice. So the more number of questions you practice, the more accurate you are, the more speed you develop in the process. The answer to your question is practice, practice, and practice.
I hope, Disha, you got your answer. Okay. Pratim Chatterjee, does the MBBS and BDS subjects have equal weightage in NEET MDS question paper?
So you mean to say MBBS subject in the sense basic subject? I hope that's the question, right? Yeah, the basic subject. Yes, there is equal weight. BDS, I mean the basic subject and clinical subject, the weightage is equal. Whether they follow it in the exam or not is a secondary thing. But according to the information bulletin, according to the guidelines laid out by NBE, the next board of examination, the weightage is the same. Each and every subject, preclinical, clinical, basic, is all the same.
I hope, Pratim, you got your answer. Okay, Krishna is asking, is only NEET MDS the only entrance exam to get seat in MDS?
Yeah, we have INSS. So let's just start it out. In India, right?
Yes.
We have another exam, that is INSS entrance. I'll just start it out for your convenience. Institutes of National Importance. So previously, we had APG, central level, state level. We had so many. Comet K, Karnataka state, APPG, TN set. So each every state has their own entrances, but now it's being centralized. We only have NEET. Apart from NEET, we have INSS. Yeah.
And Krishna, you got your answer. Okay, so sir, again a question is coming up. How much marks should require to get a government MDS seat?
Maximum marks possible. Aim for first All India rank. Government seat is guaranteed. So if you want me to tell you based on last year's merit list, as I said, around 250, 300 AIR if it is in general code, and for reservations it varies. And you can just drop a mail, we'll send you last year's merit list, or you can check it out in MCC website. The information is all available over there.
Okay, sir. I will definitely send you guys, okay, in the group. After the session is over, I will definitely send you. When I get from sir, I will definitely send it to you. Okay, Shudesna is asking, sir, that do we have any postgraduate diploma courses after BDS? Do we need to seek for NEET MDS to pursue PGDM courses, if any?
See, as far as my knowledge is concerned, the objective of this NEET MDS is only to, MDS degree, MDS postgraduate degree. For postgraduate diploma courses, we have various private universities offering them. And also government colleges offering their diploma courses. So I don't think we need to qualify or clear through entrance to go with a diploma course. Yeah, this is in specific for MDS degree.
Yes, thank you.
The NEET MDS and INSS.
I hope, Shudeshna, you got your answer. Okay, so it's Paramita Shorkar. She is asking from which year is it recommended to join a MDS coaching?
See, when should you start your preparation? I said now. So the answer to this question also would be now, because we guys are offering several courses right from first year. So coaching is not something. It's not a kind of burden. You should understand that, because most of them I consider. I listen to them saying that no, we have to do that, we have to do this. How can we manage coaching and various subjects and all? As I said, this preparation is not something which is completely different from what you study in your BDS study. So to answer your question, no matter which year you are in, you can take up courses, you can practice and pick skills, you can participate in discussion, right? So now is always the right time.
Yes, thank you, sir. Okay, a good juniorship or MDS, which one should be the priority?
Juniorship, of course, we can go ahead. We have Maulana Azhar, several government institutes offering juniorship. You can go there if you want to earn decent money and also if you want clinical expertise. But consider MDS as a long-term, strategy to succeed and excel in your professional career. I would say MDS than juniorship. I mean, if you need to choose among one.
Okay, Priyadarshini, I hope you got your answer. Okay, again, sir, a question is coming. Which coaching institute is preferable for preparation for MDS?
Yeah, I'm sure Shansang will also provide the details of our website. You can just check out our coaching PTBD Academy, right? You can check out our website. You'll get all the information.
Okay, sir. No more question till then. Okay, guys. Do we need to do MDS to work in higher cards of NHS, National Health Service, I guess? Also, it need.
Are you talking about UK or India?
Yes, that's the question. Yes, UK, National Health Service, UK.
No, it has nothing to do with MBS, because I have a couple of clears along with that BDS degree. They cleared that GDC licensing exam, General Dental Practitioner's licensing exam, and they started working there. No, it has nothing to do with master's degree. BDS will suffice, but you need to clear the licensing exam for and all also. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, sir. I'm getting a question in WhatsApp that can after passing BDS course, can we join the Indian Railways as a medical officer dental?
Yes, I've heard of some posts, but I don't have any relevant information right now. But I've heard there are some dental posts as well. Yes, of course, yes. See, the first and foremost thing is it can be any government job. There will be eligibility criteria, right? So we need to check out the eligibility criteria, because for each state it varies and also for central institutes it varies. So as far as my knowledge is concerned, for almost any government exam, BDS degree is mandatory, and they're asking for a minimum qualifying, like 55% or 50%, which they have some criteria. And also, if you have government working experience, they're going to give you additional points. So these are some of the prerequisite things we have. MDS is not mandatory for all these, right? For these government jobs.
Yes. You can even join the Army Dental Corps also. They also take
Yeah, even for Army Dental Corps, they don't need MDS, but you need to qualify, need MDS entrance.
Yes.
You need to qualify the entrance, and you need to be in the top position, top 1,000 area, depending upon your reservation status again, in order to enter into your Army Dental Corps. And also, Sampit has added another question to the previous month.
Yes.
Is it tough? Sampit, thanks to INSS, thanks to NEET entrance exam, now the standard of exams which we have is on par with other entrances worldwide. It's not tough. I'm not saying it's tough. At the same time, I'm not saying it's easy. With consistent effort, with hard work and with self-belief, anything and everything is possible. And we should pray that the exam should be tough, because if it were easy, all of us will qualify. The exam has to be tough, and you should be capable of cracking it. Only then you'll have that kick, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you, sir. Okay, Shagnik sir, is it the consumption of information from standard textbook or the correlation of information with daily clinical scenario which proved to be
It's not just about information from standard textbooks, but also off late for the past 2 to 3 years. If I got your question right, there are more of clinical oriented questions, the things which should come up in your clinical practice based on clinical expertise or based on your experiences in UG. Even they are coming up in entrance exam. So standard references coupled with clinical experience, both are important. Both are important and vital to your entrance preparation.
Yes. Thank you. I hope Shagni you got your answer. If any doubt, please write in the comment section. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, is NBDE and MDS preparation same?
They're not same. They're not same for sure. But the standards are more or less equal. See, as I said, NBDE, if you observe previous NBDE questions, of course we offer them in our test series. We have more of clinical orientation, more of case-based or context-based questions, which means they'll give you a context, saying that a patient with particular age came with chief complaint and these are his lab findings, blood reports and so on and so forth. So case-based questions, the greatest advantage is you will have answers, you will have things in those questions. You need not worry about it. It's not about asking what the specific gravity of an atom or what the new hardness number of MRD. It's about giving you a context, providing you some hints or key so that you'll be able to identify the most appropriate response. And of late, in INSS, along with single best response, usually as far as we know for any particular MCQ we have only one right answer. But in INSS, they introduced this new pattern of multiple right answers, which means for a particular question, there can be more than one right answer and you need to choose them. So it's all about understanding subject, clinical correlation, and most importantly, applying the same on the day of exam.
Thank you, sir. I hope. Okay. So another question is coming that, sir. Okay. So can you just tell us what are the different kinds of entrance examination available after 5 years of BDS course?
Yeah, see, if you're talking about India, if you're talking about our country, India, we have NEET MDS, we have INSS exam, and if you're talking about international, at international level, we have Australian Dental Council licensing exam. Our BDS degree is valid, but you need to clear Part 1 and Part 2 in Australia. US, we have MBDE, Part 1 and Part 2, the pattern is changing now. In Canada, we have NDB, and then in UK, Middle East. So we have other countries with their own respective licensing exams. Once you qualify, of course, you can practice, or in countries like US, you need to go ahead with 3 years, 2 years, or 3 years, depending upon the university you enroll to. Yeah, and then you can proceed accordingly. And luckily, thanks to the information technology, all of this information is available online. But the thing is, you need to know where you need to look at this particular information in Google. So you can find the same in all official websites, or if you want specific guidance, feel free to get back to me. We'll be more than happy to help you out.
Yes, thank you, sir. Okay, sir, another question is coming up. Yes. Okay, Jeet from Guru Nanak. Okay, sir, can you just tell me that what are the important areas we should concentrate? Like we should concentrate on the whole topics or some of more specific topics?
See, if you're talking about the entire syllabus, when you say whole topic, I would not recommend the same because it's a very demotivating experience, and that's where practicing MCQs is going to help you. If you observe previous papers, if you observe various multiple choice questions or the latest papers, you know how the trend is. So based on that, you can proceed. So all topics are not necessary. You can be selective, and you need to be selective. Only then you'll be able to comprehensively cover all the subjects within 1 year or so.
Thank you. Okay, so another question from Shakshi. She's from Lucknow. So she's asking that, sir, a postgraduate trainee, after getting chance, like after qualifying MDS, after getting chance, what is the stipend that the government offers?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this information is also available in ncc.nic.in. And I've heard the stipend varies from 20,000 to 30,000 or even 40,000 to 50,000. There are institutes of national importance like AIMS or PGI. But when it comes to GDs, government dental college, I heard it's in the range of 20 to 30,000. In GDC Osmania, some couple of years ago, I heard it's around 24,000 or 25,000. As I said, this information is available in the website, ncc.nic.in. If you are finding it tough to locate that, again, you can get back to me and find out various stipend structures in different colleges.
Okay. Okay. Apart from the MDS, does your coaching center help for entrance board like UK and USA?
Yes. Of course, yes. We have students who are preparing for MBD, we have students who are prepared for ADC, crack faster. So, the reason why it's possible is the basic subject is the same. And once you rely on standard references, you know, you can reach anywhere and everywhere. Of course, yes, our coaching is relevant to other entrances as well. And also, to the previous question, one of you asked about stipend, that's one of the common reasons why, or that's one of the only reason why most of the students would like to crack into GDC. Not because they love GDC, but it's the stipend which actually draws them towards the same, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope you got your answer. Oh, okay, fine. Okay guys, so any more question coming up, you can just place in the comment section. Participants, kindly just put up the question in the comment section so that I can communicate with sir.
If there are no questions, I'll be very happy because I'll assume that we covered all the questions. Or
Yes.
if you feel that the questions are too private to be asked on online platform, of course we can make.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, we'll give them some time, sir. We'll give them some time and we'll take up as many questions as possible. I think we still have 40 minutes. It's been almost 1 hour 20 minutes.
Yes, yes.
You know, when it comes to a theory class in our colleges, it's very hard to focus on subject or lecture for more than 20 to 30 minutes. I'm glad these guys are staying even after 1 hour 20.
Yes.
It's a kind of record.
Yes. Okay guys, then I don't hope that there in. Okay, no more question coming up, sir. So I hope we can. Yes, thank you for your feedback. Then I hope that we can end the session here.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, and I would like to say something, Shannon. Can I say something before you conclude?
Yes, yes, sir. Obviously, sir.
Yeah. See, finally, before I conclude, guys, I really appreciate your active participation and enthusiasm to attend this session. Remember one thing: when you do things for your own benefit, for your own progress, you do it with love and passion. You start enjoying each and every moment. No one forced you to come attend this session. You came by yourself. I'm sure you're enjoying it based on the feedback which you're providing. The same applies to any task in life. You do it with love. You do it just with love, nothing else. With love comes sincerity, with love comes passion, with love comes commitment, with love comes everything. Just love what you're doing. There's no stopping you. And don't get carried away by all the negativity that's out there. Seniors, classmates, juniors, everyone says it's all saturated, there is no future. That's all nonsense. Only those who do not have the potential keep complaining and keep pointing out fingers. Don't get carried away by that. As I said previously, focus on enhancing your skills, honing your skills. The future is all yours because there is real scarcity of skillful people. It can be in teaching profession, it can be in clinical practice, it can be in any profession you name it. There is a scarcity of that. And just believe in yourself, love what you're doing, be passionate about what you're doing. Success is all yours without any doubt. And in fact, when you succeed, you will be an example, you will be an inspiration to all those around you. And those who poke and point out fingers now will be the same people who keep clapping at you. You know, once you achieve success. And before I conclude, I asked you a question, and I'm glad I remembered. So, MDS preparation, is it successful preparation? So I asked you 2 questions, right? Shantan, do you remember those 2 questions?
Yes,
sir. So is it about reaching the summit or is it about enjoying the process? Is it about reaching the successful stage by clearing MDS or is it about enjoying each and every moment? So that's very, very important. See, I hope you remember the mountain picture which I have shown you initially. success is not just about reaching the summit. If you think success is all about reaching the summit, once you reach the summit, your life becomes empty. So it's not about just reaching the summit. Success, if you closely observe, it's about enjoying each and every moment, experiencing success each and every moment. So if that's the case, you'll enjoy what you're doing. As I said, you'll be passionate about it, and you'll definitely reach the summit. It's only a matter of time, isn't it? So with this, let me conclude my version, and once again I congratulate Shantan and Anand for their enthusiasm in conducting these webinars, and I wish you guys and every one of you all the very best for your present and future.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I hope, guys, you enjoyed the session with sir. And remember,
Shantanda, we have a question on our chat box. New question from Pavitra Balu.
okay.
Yeah, we'll just take up that part.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The
Yeah,
question
thank you
is-
guys for the feedback.
Yes.
Pavitra, yes, Shantan, you can just read them.
Yes, sir. Sir, how many attempts are there for NEET MDS?
Yeah. In fact, there is a misconception that 3 attempts is the maximum or the upper limit, but it's wrong. As many times as possible. If you are eligible to give the, if you qualified and cleared and completed your 12 months related internship, you can give entrance as many times as possible. So there is no upper limit, and 3 is not the maximum limit. In fact, we have done an exclusive video on this particular topic in check it out.
I hope, guys, you all are motivated for basically for the first year. I hope now you will not feel that bad that you don't get your MBBS but you entered into BDS. Trust me, when I entered, I have had the same feeling. Okay, but now I am really proud that I belong to the group of dental surgeons. Okay, so feel proud that you are a doctor. Okay, so thank you, sir. Thank you again for giving such a motivating session, so that to boost up all the medicos here. And I will thank everyone who attended this session with so much patience. Thank you all. Thank you, sir. I hope to meet you in the future again.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Take care.
Okay. Bye, sir. Okay, everyone. You can just give a feedback in my WhatsApp how you love the session. Then we can just again bring some session for you. Okay, with sir in the near future. Thank you all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.